everybody. Bridget Lynn Dogoff, Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project. It is Sunday night, 8 p.m. Pacific. And it was a crazy day. But I didn't let myself get unbalanced. And my van broke down. Literally just stopped running. Guided it to the side of the road in a snowbank. Had to get a tow, an hour and a half. Back here, I'll have been having somebody look at it. I have no idea what it is. I hope it's not expensive because, yeah, it might be a while before I can fix it. And, anyway, I just kind of want to put something out there. Super dehydrated because I had to pack it. Where it broke down was in the kind of at the base of the mountains, like if you were going to go up to Kirkwood. Big snowstorm coming in. So lucky to get home. It's a big snowstorm. Woo! Haven't seen a snowstorm like this in a super long time. I used to see them all winter long growing up. I mean, tons of snow, even down here in the valley. It's only been, in the last 20 years that we have seasons. Oh, I moved here for the seasons. Well, let's see. When I grew up, we had summer and winter. And winter was long. Summer was 3 months. And winter was the rest of the time. But that's what I loved about the Sierra Nevadas and being at the base of Lake Tahoe and the type of snow you get here, or used to get here. And I was always a big outdoor person, backcountry. Would love to do more. Would love to get out there more. If I had a better car to get up to the mountains, I'd be snowshoeing up through the mountains a couple times a week. No problem with my, doggy. So, and if we have good snow, that's another thing too. So we'd love to have a outdoor partner in crime. Just would love to get back into climbing and backcountry, everything. Just love it. Just love it, love it, love it. Can't get enough of it. And miss it a lot from, having brain cancer. In the last few years, I have done quite a few things. Not this year. Maybe last year. I did something like 22 hikes over spring. Kind of lower, mediate, moderate to, intermediate, anything from like 8 miles to 16-mile round trips in the spring. So I want to talk about the snow that we're having fall right now. And it reminds me of snow from my 20s. And I was really into snowshoeing and really just started to get into climbing. And eventually I did search and rescue type stuff. And just love it. And I love snow. It has to be right snow, So the kind of snow that we're getting tonight, it's coming down in quarters. It's fluffy, wet, heavy, crystally. And it is the kind of snow that I have not seen in a minimum of 30 years here. And when you do a lot of outback stuff, you gain an ear for the sound of the snow. Because when you're in the outback and you're climbing a mountain in your snowshoes or skis or whatever, and you get to the top, you have to listen for the sound of the snow because otherwise you get an avalanche. And so there's different kinds of, you tune your ears to different sounds that the snow makes as you walk on it. So where you should be stepping and where you shouldn't step, to avoid getting yourself into an avalanche out in the back country. So when I was walking on the snow tonight, coming from the main house to the shed, it had that whomp. It had a sound that I have not heard snow make in a really long time. And it made me cry. And it was just this amazing blessing, just really, just something simple like that just really gives me hope. Hope for the planet, kind of a thing. Anyway, I want to talk about so my teacher Bavado, when I was learning to do these ceremonies, he could actually he went to a lot of different places where they had whole lakes that had no water in it, total drought in the West Coast. And during the 16 years he was on the road, he's a Shoshone elder medicine man. Very powerful. He was very powerful. But he would put up altars, native type altars with medicines and clear murder and violence and hatred and things that had seeped into the soil and the water. And as a direct result, the weather would get really crazy sometimes in those areas. Sometimes you would get 100-mile-an-hour winds, mini tornadoes. Ryan and I, Hunter, did a huge medicine water wheel ceremony, Marshall Jack Paiute's ceremony. And on this lake that had horrible energy, and we found out there was a lot of murder there. I've talked about this on my channel before. It almost killed me. But we went there 2 weeks later in the more in the summertime. It was warm. It was during the week. There wasn't anybody out there. Maybe early spring, late spring. And so we're on a beach by ourselves, and we're swimming in the lake and stuff like that. And this storm came. And we watched it. It was one big cloud. And it went across the lake, and on the exact area where we did this water wheel ceremony to release all of this energy, it literally had lightning and rain pounding from it and going into the ground. And we literally watched it for 6 hours. It was the most incredible energy clearing thing I have ever seen. Bavado basically said that we can do, we have to do what we know how to do. And then the earth, in order to balance herself out, has to bring, wind and rain and lightning and whatever else that she needs to that area to clean it the rest of the way up. So I was thinking about this about a week ago. And I have dabbled with on my channel too, I have a video called The Rain Altar, which was inspired by Marshall Jack, my teacher, about water, kind of in water medicine and how we need to treat water and how we need to raise its vibration. And so I did an inspired, water altar, rain altar. And you can go look at that video and see what transpired through that. It was very powerful, actually. I was actually shocked at how well it worked. So about a week ago, I was thinking about a lot of this. And the geoengineering stuff has kicked up so horrifically in the last year. And it terrifies me. When I see the planes outside white out the sky in a period of hours and you can't even see the sun is blocked out and there's like no space left in the sky anymore. I tell you, it terrifies me. And then, I start having sinus problems and lung problems, and my dog, I get really worried about her dying because she can't breathe. And just, it terrifies me. So, about a week ago, I was thinking about Bovado. I was thinking about ceremony, working on a 4-part kind of easy ceremony. And I wondered if I could harness the energy of the geoengineering storms to do the clearing of the energy. Because, they're coming in and they're creating massive amounts of wind and really weird cold and just weird weather. So I was thinking maybe I could use it in a beneficial way, at least the best that I know how to do, and use it to release the energies in the area that I want it to release. So I sat quietly and I imagined, I sent myself to the areas because I've been all over these areas. And so I'd send myself to that area and then I would map it across to the next area, until I could make a giant square, a line all the way around. And this line kind of went up by like Quincy, Truckee, Sacramento, came down into Highway 50, into the Appleville areas, down to like Minden and Gardnerville, came over and across there, out there to take in like Yerington and Fallon and, a lot of these areas. It made like a big square. And then brought it back all the way back up. And then I just sat with each area thinking about, negative energy that's there, harm that's been done, drought, forest being abused, killed, animals, and that I just wanted to clear all the negative energy no matter what it was. Whether it's been murder, because a lot of these areas go across reservations of Paiute people and Washoe people. There's been a lot of really bad things that happen to Native people. Probably more horrific than, most people are willing to deal with in America. Still happening. So I just thought about, sat quietly and thought about these different areas and thought about, releasing all of the bad. And the things that have come to pass that have happened. And the violence and murder and theft. Huge theft in Nevada. It's like chronic theft. Political officials steal from everyone. People just steal from everyone here. It started a lot with the gold and silver rushes, and this has always been kind of a greedy, cabal-y sick place where lots of people that take and murder and abandon and destroy. So I really was thinking about a lot of the different types of areas and energies and past, future, me, others. And then I just set the intent that the geoengineering that they've been doing the last 3 weeks, completely whiting out the sky, it just terrifies me sometimes. And I just had to do something about the terror. And in my mind, my other teacher, Lakota Sioux medicine woman, she taught me years and years ago to always do things physically first, right? To not misuse my power. And then if I couldn't change it physically, then it was time to engage the power. And so I heard her voice last week too, that, I have lobbied, I have been an activist, I have done every possible thing to educate people and stop, bad. And so I've done everything that I can physically. So I heard her basically say, it's time to use the power. So I did some Bavado work, inspired Bavado work. And yesterday I noticed like the weirdest, it's probably why my van being broke down doesn't even like faze me right now. Because I'm so overwhelmed with power sometimes, used in a good way. So yesterday I saw these like incredible, clouds like this that are totally dark and sinister looking and going solo by themselves. And it's some of the same kind of clouds that I've seen after ceremonies and stuff that I've done with Bavado, that the clouds that come in and clean up, the medicines that come in and clean up. And they can be really chaotic little masses of energy. And I started to see them float over the mountain. And the whole sky had other clouds because there's the supposed storms coming in, blah, 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 blah. None of them ever give you any snow. It's all pretend snow. Except for now. So I'm watching these clouds. I had to go in town yesterday, and I'm watching these clouds go by, and I'm like, oh, I know those clouds. And those are chaos clouds. And those are cleanup clouds. And I thought, wow, that's pretty exciting. And then you always wonder, I wonder if that's because of, the work that I'm doing. Sometimes I just don't know. Does it matter? No. As long as it's all in a good way. It doesn't matter to me. So then today the van broke down. It was pretty epic and just finally got it back to town just in time. Got everything kind of sorted out, for the finish of the day right before this huge snowstorm came in. And let me just tell you, it is dumping. And it has that beautiful snow that has a sound. And it's like a old friend, So it just really has given me hope. And I'm not talking like hope that, naive hope. But I think if the snow, can come back, the snow that I know, the snow that I have a relationship with and I have a past with, And it's almost like, I don't know, it's like just everything feels like that it could work, and I haven't felt that way for a long time. So I really think that it's time to, get the ceremonies together, that the one that I'm working on, and get it out there, and so other people can get engaged in it and help. And anyway, today was an intense day, and it's really nice to see my old friend, this this type of snow. And I remembered, stomping around at the highest peaks and the snow being so deep and crystally and fluffy, and we would just throw ourselves off into it, like a pool. It was like a giant cloud, and we'd snowshoe in it, and it'd be up to your waist. And just this good, refreshing snow. And the thing is like, they can't manufacture that kind of snow. They can't do it. And that tells me that something's happening, because I can see it in the snow. And so we can't really lose hope now. And we can't let these people destroy the planet. And Ryan said today, we're at dinner, kind of an early dinner. I had to drop him off in town. I had to borrow a car to drop him off in town after we got towed back out here. And he was talking about something that's going on with him, the university. And he said, he was talking about, I turned him on to Max Egan. I love Max Egan. And so he listens to all of Max Egan's podcasts, for the last year, 2 years. Loves them. I don't know how he couldn't love Max Egan. Anyway. And, he said, it's like Max Egan says, you can't allow yourself to go outside of your moral and ethical compass. That even what he's dealing with in the university, there is a power struggle. He's, working on his PhD for math. And he's under constant attack from these people who think that they're so important and so above him. And they're constantly threatening him. And he decided, he was really going to stand up. And if it gets him kicked out of the university, oh well. But he also recognizes that because of it, that the university is probably not the end-all be-all, that he's going to need to figure things out for himself and do things himself. And, he said, we can't, now is the time to stand up. We can't not stand up. Like this, we can't wait any longer, kind of a thing. And I was so freaking proud of him. I was like, when I met him, he came into my life. He was kind of a student for a while of shamanism because of you can go back to some of the, when he's been a guest on the radio shows, and especially the first one where he talks about what he's been through. And, it was just so good to see him like in his full power. Feeling how he feels, listening to how that feels, and not compromising himself, and not cowing down to people who just want to intimidate or be righteous for whatever reason because they're a member, or they have a certification, or a PhD, or a badge. You know, not to stand up against them violently, but stand up in truth and tell the truth. And they have to accept that they don't like it. And they were putting pressure on him to write a nice email to somebody who acted heinous, total abuse of power. And he is not going to do it because he knows it's wrong. And he knows what his truth is. So, yeah. That gives me hope. So, yeah. It's funny, too, because even a year ago, I would have had a nervous breakdown over the van and the whole thing. And because it's like my home, you know, and my work vehicle and, you know, everything. And I'm surprised, like, how calm I am about the whole thing. Because maybe it's because I have renewed hope. And not naive hope. We have a long ways to go. But I think it's starting. And I think the earth is going to fight. And I'm kind of glad about that. All right, so that's been your pep talk. I'll probably upload it tomorrow. But I wanted to get it out while it was fresh. Anyway, Virgilla and Dolgoff, Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project. And, yeah, hope.